If I were to join a new team tomorrow, you know, even though I've been here on the sales team closing deals for the past 2.5, almost 3 years now, I wouldn't come and hit the ground running. That's what most agents need to understand. You always need to put in some time, hour and a half for the first, not forever. I'm not saying forever, but maybe for the first 1 or 2 weeks, just so you can help get this ISA up to speed with how your systems, your processes work. Because everybody does things a little different.
All right, we're here. Awesome, great, folks. Thanks for joining us for another one of these sessions, Tuesday topics. We're jumping in here. We have somebody new. We have a new guest on one of these sessions. This is Alex, and Alex is part of our sales team here at Power ISA. So Alex is great on the phone. He talks to so Alex has worked as an ISA, and now he works in sales. Same thing, right? On the phone,
Yep.
talking to leads, following up, making things happen, doing it. And I want to have Alex here to talk about a really, an interesting topic, a different angle, a little bit of a different angle on this topic of ISAs, which is how do you get a great ISA, right? How do you get a great ISA? How do you get that great experience? As someone that's adding this role to your team. And I wanted to lay it out there that way, right? So, Alex, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Give us the 30-second intro, kind of who is Alex, and what do you do here at Power ISA? And let's jump into that question, right? What are the
For sure.
steps to nail it with this ISA role?
Awesome, awesome. So yeah, I'm Alex. I'm actually one of the sales rep here at Power ISA. And yeah, I've been here on the sales team for 2.5, about 3 years now. And I mean, before I was doing this, I obviously was an ISA for some time. And before I was an ISA, I was actually selling cookies. I was selling cookies for PepsiCo. Then, I've heard of this
Well,
ISA
like
role.
door to
Never,
door. Well, not door to door, but you were talking to the store owners, right? You were like,
yeah, store
basically,
owners.
basically door to door sales, but business to business sales, right? For small store owners.
Correct, correct. Yeah. So I've had before this, I had never made a phone call before. Or regarding sales, of course, I had never done anything real estate related. And honestly, you just need the right tools, the right team to help you get you up to speed with everything, all the tools you're gonna need in order for you to perform at a high level.
I love it. So Alex, I love that point because one of the recurring topics we hear from our clients here on this show is should you hire someone for the experience or should you hire someone that has the great skill set, right? Like the talent. Is it experience or is it talent? And I think you're a great example of a time when we went with someone with had the right skill set, the talent wise, right?
For
Because you
sure.
had never done real estate before. You'd never done. Have you ever done call center? I don't think you've done call center before. You haven't done any call center
I
work
had
before.
never.
Yeah, so we just found you had relevant experience in the sense that you had sold stuff. You had to get your
Hmm.
foot in the door. You had to like go back and follow up with people and kind of think on your feet and like belly to belly, face to face sales, direct
Yeah,
sales, right?
for
It
sure.
wasn't no one set any appointments for you. No one, there was no inbound leads. It was nothing, right? It was just go out there, kind of
Yeah.
knock on doors and get your foot in the door. And that's a really good skill set to have. That's a really, really valuable skill set to have. And that again, the bet that we made was that was going to translate well over the phone, and it really has,
Yeah.
right? You've got that kind of natural ability. So, I mean, tell us, man. I mean, what recommendations have you got? And let's get specific. How can someone find a great person like you that can do this at a really high level?
First of all, I mean the number one thing I'm pretty sure you guys have heard it on these Tuesday topics is the accent. They must have a good accent. That's on the ISA's part. They must have all the tools necessary, good computer, good headset, camera. Then from there on out, it's gonna depend on the agent. It's gonna depend on the agent and the type of lead source they have, the tools. If they're gonna spend time with them or not. Because it's not like us as a company. It's not like we're gonna spread some type of magic powder on these ISAs and they're just going to come and hit the ground running. I can tell you guys that right off the bat, because even me that I've been doing this for some time now, if I were to join a new team tomorrow, you know even though I've been here on the sales team closing deals for the past 2.5, almost 3 years now, I wouldn't come and hit the ground running. That's what most agents need to understand. You always need to put in some time, hour and a half for the first, not forever. I'm not saying forever, but maybe for the first 1 or 2 weeks, just so you can help get this ISA up to speed with how your systems, your processes work. Because everybody does things a little different.
Yeah, 100%, right? And I love what you said, right? There's certain things you want to look for in the ISA. Sounds good on the phone, great accent. It's got that right attitude. Get all the tools, all the things that need to do the job. And
Hmm.
then there's part of the agent. I think sometimes we feel that I just need to find a great person and that's it. I don't have to really focus on it. Like, hold on, you have to find the right person, and a lot of success has to do with getting the right person into the right situation, right?
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
are they set up for success? Are they plugging into a system that works? And the ISA is there to add leverage to that. And I think that can kind of go by the wayside.
Hmm.
Can get lost sometimes. All I need to find is someone with this certain experience level, this certain accent. That's getting a good person is like table stakes for me. Like getting a
Yeah.
good person is like a given. We're gonna find a good person for you guys, right? But you got to plug them into the right system, and by the right system, I mean like the right lead source. What are they going to do on your team? It's always the first question I ask folks when they're in my group coaching calls. The first question I ask them, even if they haven't selected anyone yet, it doesn't matter to me, because what they're going to
Hmm.
do with their ISA gives me like 50% of the answer, like of where how successful are they going to be. It's 50% of the answer is what do you, it's probably more than that, but for me, it's 50% of the answer is what are you going to have them do? That is the number one thing I always ask teams, because if they, depending on how they answer that, I know how much work I have to do with them to get them ready, or where they're ready to go. Right? Some people
Yeah.
answer that question and they nail it. Like they know
Hmm.
exactly what they want their ISC to do. That's great. And sometimes people that need help with that. Again, I'm not knocking anyone that needs help with that. That's what we're here for, to help people. If they need help, we'll take them by the hand and take them step by step.
Yeah.
But that's the situation you want to get a great ISA into. Like that's what you want,
Hmm.
right? You
Yeah,
want
for
you
sure.
want a system that works, well-oiled machine, and getting the right person into that can really take a next level. And if you don't know if you have the right system in place, if you have the right tools in place, you ask. Well, we can help with that. We can help you put
Yeah.
in the right process, whether it's prospecting, whether it's online leads, inbound. We can help set that up for you. Like some of our clients, we set them up with ads first. Actually, Alex, set them up the ads
Yeah,
first,
for
and once
sure.
they're overwhelmed with ads, leads, now they have the ISA, right? We also have
Hmm.
options for that too. But it's always important to have a system in place, have something you want the ISA to do, and not leave it kind of up in the air, right?
Yeah, you gotta have the right systems, right tools, and more than anything, a little bit of time. I always like to say that a little bit
That
of
too.
time to help
What do
get
you mean
this
by that?
person.
What not? Let's unpack that. What do you mean by a little bit of time? What do you mean by that?
Just that time, if you have morning huddles, weekly meetings, maybe before the person starts shift, however you want to manage it, maybe before, after the shift, maybe at the end of the shift, they're gonna send over like an accountability sheet. This maybe see how many people they called, how many answered, how many nurtures, how many appointments they set. You know, give some time, dedicate some time to this caller. Give them your feedback, because no matter how good our team is at giving them the feedback to I say that the feedback they need, of course, you're the expert in your area, and nobody knows your area better than you.
100%. I see a big, and we publish testimonials all the time. I love it. I love testimonials. I love case studies that people are killing it. I have yet to see a case study, a success study, where people didn't put in the time. They didn't
Yeah,
make any time for their ISA. You know what? They came in, I gave them all their tools, I worked with them for a whole day, and they're good to go. Like that just doesn't, it's not a real thing. It doesn't happen,
yeah,
right?
a
This is a
hundred
real
percent.
person. Yeah. And Alex, when you joined the sales team, I'm sure same thing, right? It wasn't like, hey,
Yeah,
Alex, good luck, we'll see you later. It's like, if I recall correctly, don't let me lie here. I even took some, at least once a week, I sat down with you guys in
yeah. I tell
the
people
sales
all the
folks,
time.
that I
I
sat down with
do.
you and I listened to your calls. I'd listen, not every day. I'm not going to lie, because we have a sales team manager, but I made time to sit down with you guys and go, hey, let's listen to those calls. Let's see how you guys are doing, right? Because I've done some
Yeah.
of, not everything you guys did. I'll be honest with you. I didn't do, especially on the prospecting side. I didn't do a ton of
Hmm.
prospecting for agents, but I know what a good call should sound like. I know what a good call
Yeah.
should sound. Or if someone throws an objection that I know how to answer, I'd give you guys my suggestion on that. Hey, try it this way, try it that way, right?
Yeah.
But there's no replacement for that, and at least in my experience, there's no replacement for that. You either have to do it yourself as the agent, as a team owner, or you've got some leadership already in there. Some of our clients are large enough where they have leadership on the
Hmm.
ISA side, like an ISA manager, ISA coordinator, even better. But for
So it just has to be somebody.
99%, it has to be somebody. It has to sit down with them and give them some time. I like the way you laid it out. Gotta make some time. Gotta give them some time. And it's every single day. In my opinion, it's every single day. I
I,
was doing it once a week because that's not time I had, but I had someone else with you guys every single day.
yeah, every day listening in on our phone calls. We'd have morning huddles, or in the afternoon. Sometimes, as if, our sales team manager, Chris, if he didn't have anything to do, he'd just hop in, he'd step in the room and he'd listen to our phone calls live.
Right. So that's obviously the best way to do it. Like, you have everyone on a Zoom call together if you guys are remote, and
Hmm.
and just be there. Make calls together.
Yeah.
That's like the not I mean, having everyone in the same room at the same time is obviously the easiest way to do that. But
Hmm.
having everyone in the virtual room is another way to do it to have the
Yeah,
same
Zoom is
desired
Zoom is
effect.
awesome. I love Zoom.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a great way to get people, kind of at least virtually face to face, and see what you're doing. You can listen to each other's calls. You can unmute. You're on a call. People can hear what you're saying, right? When you're in the room, you don't
Yeah.
hear the other person either. When you're in the room, you don't hear the other person. Same thing. You have the same
Hmm.
limitation on Zoom, but you can hear what you're saying. You can hear
Hmm.
what how you're reacting, how you're pitching things, how you're saying things. I can't think of a better way to train people. I cannot think of a better way than to kind of show them how those calls should be made. And when it's live, it's great. Shadowing is great. Recordings are the next best thing. Record it and show it to the team. Show it to your ISA, kind of what a good call should sound like. And if you don't have that, we can help with those things, right?
For sure. Yeah, I remember, as a matter of fact, every time you used to come in here with us, to kind of give us your coaching, you would always have us bring along, three good phone calls. Three good phone calls, or maybe one or
Give
two
me your
bad
best.
ones.
Or,
We'll go
or
over
your
them
longest
together.
ones. Just give me your longest ones, right? We didn't have early on. You guys didn't have a bunch of converted leads. That's fine. That's
Yeah.
great. Give me your longest conversation you had, even if it went nowhere. In fact, those are usually the more interesting ones, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes those calls, especially you, Alex, I'd go, you know what? That call went nowhere, but you did your job, my man. I mean, that was a great call, even if it
Hmm.
didn't convert, because that was a good effort. It was trying to get to the third no, trying to find a way to get the prospect, to talk to you, and just make it constructive. Don't get strung along by someone that's just unqualified, unnecessary.
Yeah.
Just doing it the right way, even if the outcome is not what you want. Disconnect from the outcome. Focus on the process. Are
Yep.
you having a good conversation? Are you qualifying the right way? Because sometimes a really long phone call isn't a good phone call.
Yeah.
Isn't a
I
call.
could
I
tell you
remember
that from
someone.
experience.
Yeah, 100%. No, and I'd listen to calls, from other members of the team. They'd have 20-minute conversations. I go, yeah, but you got to be talking about the next step in this process. I mean, you
Hmm.
can become someone's friend, right, and have a great conversation with them. But if you don't move things along, if you do most of the talking, that's not a great call,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I figured that out. Even what they used to tell us here, my manager, he used to be like, "Hey, if you're talking for more than minute and a half, that's not good. You need to, talk a little bit, ask questions, and have the prospect, give his feedback."
Yeah, 100%. Because if there's no interest from their part, that's a red flag. There's an issue there, right?
Yep.
The conversation might not be going, the way that you think. And so, oh, you know what, Alex? Nerves. Some people are just anxious or nervous, and they just want to keep talking. They can't stand
Yeah.
the silence. It's a really common issue as well. When you're nervous,
I
talk out of your elbows.
I found out that silence is actually it's good because you got them thinking, like it might seem awkward, yeah, at first, but you're really just having them think, get their thoughts together and give them their 20, 30 seconds of silence and then they're going to come back with more questions.
Yeah, 100%. And I like this saying that says if you can withstand about 30 seconds of an awkward conversation over the phone, you can be really successful in sales. You can be
Hmm.
really
For
successful
sure,
in
for
sales.
sure.
Because even right now, right, we're recording this in 2024. This is, it's still the phone is still king. And yes, there's all these different things and
Yeah.
the AI and the chat bots and the text messaging and the DMs. All those things are useful. All of those things work, right?
Yeah.
You still have to have a two-way conversation on Zoom or in person or over the phone to
I
close someone.
think I think all those tools are good for maybe like initial contact, if that, waiting for send out, maybe you have an ad and you 50 people click on the ad and You have an automation sending out to them. Maybe it can help you get your foot into the door for whoever responds. Then whoever responds saying, yeah, nobody has reached out, or a text or a phone call would work better. Then you need to have someone on there ASAP. Some a person, that shows emotion, builds rapport, and everything like that. The AI is good, but it hasn't got to that point yet, that level of at least.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to start the conversation. Like, I always tell my folks, meet the leader where they are. If they're texting you, they don't want to pick up the phone, text them.
Text
Start the
them.
dialogue via text. There's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes people only respond via email. Let's be honest,
Yep.
right? When we're talking to real estate agents, we're converting them as clients. We send a proposal. It's part of the process. We talk to them, have a chat, maybe texting, send them a proposal, see what they think. Sometimes they want to respond through email. Meet them where they are. But I'm serious when I say this. If you don't ever get them on the phone, and this in what we do, which is kind of higher ticket items, professional
Hmm.
service, if you don't get them on the phone, it's not going to close, right? And then imagine real estate, right? As a real
Yeah.
estate agent, biggest purchase of their lives, probably, right? Very emotional, very anxiety-driven process. If you don't get someone on the phone, you have no chance to really close somebody, right?
Yeah.
And this kind
Yeah.
of
Try to text them or email them, whatever they're responding to, up until the point where they feel comfortable to hop on the phone with you.
Yeah, 100%. All of these tools, they're tools. They should lead to you to get into that two-way
Yeah.
conversation. I love that. And Alex, tell me, man. So how long was it? High performer like yourself. Great on the phone, great performer. How long did it take you from like your first day to when you felt you had an idea, like a grasp of the job? Right? Was it the first 30 days? Was it the first 90 days? When did you feel like, okay, I know what this is. Now I just gotta like sharpen the axe and get better at it? When you have a grasp of what you had to do as a sales rep? It's
Somewhere,
like an ISA job. It's like an ISA job.
yeah,
We just call it different.
yeah. Somewhere between, the 60 to 90-day mark.
Love
I
it.
can, really, really say it, to be honest, somewhere between that mark, because yes, sometimes you see some results in that first week, but you're still asking yourself questions,
Yeah,
or
a
sometimes
lot of questions.
you feel like you're doing a good job, then, your supervisor comes in, he's like, you could have done better, you could have done better. And it's just like, oh, really? I was giving it all I had, but I like to say this role when it comes to, real estate or just any sales job on the phone, it's kind of like playing a guitar, you really never learn how to do it 100%.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's raw. That's a real answer, right? Like 60 to 90-day mark. I think it all comes together. I agree with you. I think it's that
Yeah.
60 to 90-day mark. I think things really, really start to click. Things really start to happen. But I will say this. I'll say this from the manager perspective. Within the first 30 days, if you got the right person or not, in my opinion.
Yes.
You're not done with the training by no means. I don't want to exaggerate,
Hmm.
but within 30 days, if you got the right person on your team or not. If they're having good, they might have a bunch of conversions, a bunch of closings, but you might need a little bit more time to really get it all together. But you've got some good conversations happening within the first 30 days. You've got some
Hmm.
some 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 initial conversions, right? Some solid
I
conversations, some leads.
Yeah, I tell that to agents all the time. I'm like, I have agents that say, yes, I want this ISA to, you know, get me a closing with like in the first week. I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know why you
No
would
way.
put that on, expect that from an ISA, because at the end of the day, what we're here to do is just get our foot in through the door. Get our foot in through the door. We don't care about how many dials are being made. I honestly have also had agents saying, I want my ISA to make 100 phone calls per hour, and I'm like, wow. And then where's the talk time? That's crazy. It's unrealistic. I would rather them talk to like, you know make 10 phone calls and talk to like one or two people, because at the end of the day, what we look for here is conversations being held, not really dials being made. I could really care less if, they're calling 500 people and talking to like three folks. I'd rather them single line dial,
I
you know
just actually
call
I
a
just
hundred.
had that happen. They were super hot. Hey, we had 550 phone calls in a day. Like, yeah, that's pretty good. How many people they talked to? And they said it was not even five. They didn't even
Wow.
talk to five of them. I go, okay, well, okay, now we got to solve that problem. That's not useful to do 500. Well, that's why they can do 500 phone calls, because they're not talking to
Yeah,
anybody. That's
burning
why they
through
can go so
lists.
fast, right? You're burning through the list, and obviously the phone number was tagged as spam likely, so it was show the only three brave souls that were curious why a spammer was calling them are the only ones that picked up. So a lot of those conversations
Yeah,
obviously went nowhere, right? So
yeah,
you're right, Alex. It's not just about that, right? It's about having, yeah, having those conversations 100%, right? And setting the right expectation, man. Setting the right expectation, I think is so key. You
hmm
nailed it, right? Which is a lot about what you guys do on the sales team. And I think a lot of things, when we talk to people over the phone, you got a good ISA will not just say yes to anyone, right? They got to qualify.
yeah.
You got to
Qualify, ask
qualify the person,
questions.
right? If you got someone with, that's on Social Security income and they want to buy a property or they're a student, you gotta give them. You can't just tell them what they want to hear. You can't just tell them what they want to hear. You just gotta. If you're talking to someone that's unqualified, you gotta let them know that, right? If you're talking
Yeah,
in your world, if you're talking to someone who wants to get their first closing within the first 30 days, otherwise they're not going to have the funds to pay the ISA. Okay, you can't afford one right now. You're just getting started here, right?
yeah,
Like
for
this is
sure.
they should join our coaching program, like the was it Agent Mafia coaching? They should get started, build up to where they can actually add leverage, need an ISA, right? And
hmm
then continue 100%. Because otherwise, you're not, if you don't have a runway, and we always said it, right? 60, 90 days. I think that's the minimum to really
Minimum.
get up and running and get any lead source to be productive. I don't think it happens less time than that, to be really honest with you. And at the 6 month mark, you should be ROI positive. And at the 12-month mark, you've got multiples of ROI,
Yep.
multiples of ROI. Whatever you're investing, you should get multiples of that back, right? So
hmm
100%. I agree with everything you said, man. Anything, any mistakes that you see agents make? What would you, we're almost out of time here, but what are the recommendations you give people? Because you see them make some mistakes every now and then, or you see recurring issues with some agents and they're trying out the ISA model. What pitfalls do people tend to fall into? Do any come to mind?
Typically just people that don't have, I like to say, the four things they need in order for this to work, which is one, enough leads. That's priority. Leads is priority. It
100%.
doesn't matter where they're coming in from, just leads in general. Second thing would be a CRM. That way you and this person can be more organized. And, I like to
100%.
say we're not just VAs, where we're just gonna get in contact, qualify the lead, and send them your way. We want to do, if we need to, initial contact, long-term nurturing, and that way the agent's only dealing with qualified folks. And the third
Love
thing
it.
would be the dialer, and the fourth is the one thing we always mention, is the time, having the time to put
Yeah.
in with your ISA. And also you need to have some what is it, some filters, you could say, some filters, that these leads need to meet in order for the ISA to book the appointment for the agent in the first place, because every agent has different requirements. I like to tell agents all the time, when you sign up with us and you get an ISA from us, it's going to be your personal dedicated caller, and at the end of the day, it's just going to depend on you and how involved you're going to want them to be throughout your process.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. The big four. Call those the big four.
The big
You
four.
need those. I think those are like essential. I don't think those are negotiable, right? Like that's
hmm
that's really it. You need a system. You need enough leads. You gotta have a solid lead source. You need a system to keep it. I mean, to manage these things between two people. At least two people on your team now. CRM
Yep.
is a great way to do that. There's other ways to do it, but CRM is a really great
Or your
solution to that
spreadsheet. You
problem.
could use a spreadsheet also if you don't have a CRM
100%.
yet.
100%. Just make sure it's something that you guys both have access to and can communicate effectively through, right? 100%.
hmm
And I love, a solid dialing system and that time. Just making sure you got enough time to like we just mentioned. Inspect what you expect. Pay
hmm
attention. Pay attention. I think 90% of the issues people have with ISAs would be solved if they spent time with them. That's it. You wouldn't have
Time.
you would surface problems faster. You would fix problems faster. And if you got the wrong person, you would change them faster. If you're paying attention, you're spending time with them. Time
Yep.
solves a lot of things. Time solves a lot of things when you're paying attention to the ISA. So I love that. Alex, man, I appreciate you. This has been a great session. I love it. We're talking to someone in the trenches, making calls every single day.
For sure.
Doing hand-to-hand combat over the phone. Trying to convert those leads and get deals flowing. So love it, Alex. Appreciate you, man. And I look forward to seeing you here on the next one. And thanks, everybody. See
Awesome.
you here, same
See you guys.
place, same channel. See you guys here in the Facebook group. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good one.